Okay, so I'm back and we are starting a new strategy. Today we're going to start with our multiplication. I told you a long time ago, I think it was back in Unit 3, that eventually we were going to get to 2 by 2 because we had focused in that unit on 2 by 1s, 3 by 1s, 4 by 1s. And I said down the line towards the end of the year, we're going to hit 2 by 2s, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to use breaking the array strategy using an organized partial product grid, which we use partial product grids back in Unit 3. I'm going to do this strategy first, so this will be the first video, and then there'll be a second video that's separate that solely focuses on algorithms. That way, when you start doing your practicing, whichever strategy you feel more comfortable with, instead of watching a whole length video of both strategies, you can just select which one works best for you and go back and rewatch it if you feel like you need a little bit more support. So, partial product. So again, that's just a fancy way of saying how we break apart something and multiply it and put it in kind of a nice grid. So, I'm going to set up a 2 by 2. Here it is. So I've got 23 times 42. Now remember, when we are breaking the array, we used to only break the large number and then we times it by that single digit. And we never broke down that single digit, okay? But notice I've got double and double this time. So because of that, I'm going to break down both of them, all right? So in order to set up my partial product grid, it's going to be like a square, and then I'm going to divide it here into fourths, okay? And I'm going to take the first number, and it doesn't matter where on the grid that you set it up. Because I could say 23 times 42, or I could say 42 times 23, and I'm going to get the same thing. So it really doesn't matter what side of the grid that you choose to break the number, all right? So I'm going to start with the 23, and I'm just going to start on the top, okay? I know that 23 is worth 2 10s. It's worth 3 1s. I know 42 is worth 4 10s and 2 1s, okay? So this is where I'm putting it. I'm going to go ahead and put a little tiny X in that corner just to remind myself, okay, we're multiplying. I'm going to focus first on the first row before I even move to that second row. All right, so here's that first row, and I'm going to go into this first box, and I'm going to say 20 times 40. The beauty about partial product grids and breaking the array strategy is it really focuses on your basic fact of multiplication, which we should know by now, and then your zero trick, all right? So if I look at 40 times 20, my basic fact is 4 times 2. Well, I know what 4 times 2 is, at least I hope I do. It's an 8, okay? And then I look at how many zeros I have. I've got 1, 2. So because of that, it really is an 800, all right? Then I go to my next square. I'm looking at 40 times, this time, 3. All right, my basic fact is 4 times 3, which is 12. How many zeros do I see? I only see 1, okay? So that becomes 120. So I'm done with that first row. And now I'm looking at my second row. All right, so now I'm starting down here with my 2, and I'm going to say 2 times 20. I know my basic facts are 2 times 2, which is 4. There's 1 0. And this last box, 2 times 3, I know is 6. Okay? So now I've got all of them. Think about it. What do you think I'm going to do with all of those numbers? If you were thinking addition, you are correct. We are going to add them. I do not care how you want to add these numbers, okay? If you want to do the first row, give me a number. Do the second row, give me a number. That is totally up to you. If you want to take all 4 numbers and you want to add them all up, all 4 at the same time, that is totally up to you. It does not matter, okay? I'm going to go ahead and add the first row and the second row. So 800 plus 120, I know is 920. Plus, I know that 40 and 6 is 46. So when I add it up, I'm going to get a 6, and then 4 plus 2 is a 6, and then there's a 9. 966. Okay, so again, this is how we would use breaking the array with that lovely partial product, kind of to keep it organized in order to show my 2 by 2. So we're going to go ahead and do another one because I want to make sure that we get some practice in. And if you want to go ahead, if you've got a sheet of paper and a pencil, you may want to go ahead and get that out. If you want to go ahead and kind of set up your partial product grid, go for it while I'm getting mine squared away. We're going to do 37 times 29. Okay, so here we are. 37 times 29. And I'm going to set up my grid. And I'm going to break 37 into a 30 and a 7, and then 29 into a 20 and a 9. And remember, it does not matter what side of the grid you put it on. Maybe you put your 20 and your 9 up top. Maybe you put your 30 and your 7 over here. Our numbers may look a little bit different since you did it that way, but ultimately when we add them all up, we're going to get the same thing. All right, so I'm going to put that X in the corner. So remember, I said we're starting with the first row and then we'll move down to the second row. First row, basic fact is 2 times 3, which is 6. How many zeros? 1, 2. I go to my next box. 20 times 7. I know that 7 times 2 is 14. I've got 1 0. Okay, so 600 and then 140. Now I can move to my second row. 9 times 3 is the basic fact. That's 27, 1 0. And then last box, 9 times 7, I know is 63. Okay, so again, it doesn't matter how you want to add them up. This time I'm just going to do it and add it with all 4 numbers. Last time I did it with just 2 numbers. So again, as long as you add these numbers up, it really does not matter how you do it. So let's say you're a kid and you really like doing all of them. Okay, so this would be 3. I know that 7 and 4 is 11, and 11 and 6 is 17. Then I tag, that's 7, 8, 9, 10. 1,073 is what you should have gotten, okay? So if you went ahead of me and you did it and you got it, yay. All right, so this, again, is our breaking the array partial product strategy. The next video I'm going to show you, I'm going to do the exact same problems, except I'm going to show it to you in an algorithm. And the beauty about the algorithm is your parents know how to do it. So if you end up choosing that one and you kind of get stuck on the process, go to them. They're going to be your experts. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.